to be here in Orlando. I'd like to thank Stan again for putting on such an awesome event in such a great hotel. I was here so late last night that I didn't really even check out the grounds, and when I woke up this morning and looked out the window, I was like, oh, we have a golf course and pools. How beautiful is that? So, all right, so, I was just as amazed at that last video when I saw that. And of course, just being able to work with somebody like Dr. Thatcher has just been a dream come true. When he first called me and asked about this VOXX technology, I said, excuse me, is this as in Robert Thatcher? And he chuckled and says yes. And I'm like, well, before you ask me anything, congratulations on those 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, because I've been studying the neurology of the brain for a long time, and he's been scattered through all of the textbooks and through all of the learning that we've done. He's been such an instrumental part. So when he heard that I'm kind of disrupting this whole field of neurology, with these new findings, and he had to just see it for himself. So Jay and I went and visited him, and we mapped somebody in his office, and he says, listen, I know that you're really excited about this, but my software is a lot more sophisticated than yours, so I really don't think we're going to see the results that you see. And so he says, okay, why don't you just do it anyway? And so he did it, and oh my goodness, he stood up, he looked down and looked at us, he's like, I can't believe it. It was like 58% change in this girl's brain, and he had never seen anything like that. So needless to say, he's super excited to be on board and working with us, and we're so excited to have such great thought leaders that keep attracting to us, that see our mission, that feel it, that love what we do, and that want to be part of it. And in all of this whole year, I've been traveling and meeting so many amazing thought leaders at all these huge conferences. And we sit in our suite, and I map them, and I show them like the befores and afters, and it leads into, 6-7 hour conversations sometimes. And not once do they ever ask about the money. I lay in bed thinking about that, like, what? We just talked for 7 hours on how this technology is going to impact and change the human race, humankind, and change the planet, and give so many people an opportunity to have hope again and to be better. And it's right here. It's so amazing that we can be part of this at this time in our lives. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go back right to the core and the root of what this really does in the human body. In order to do that, I need to take you on a journey and explain to you how wonderfully and fearfully your body is actually made. And so with that, I want to first give a little bit of my own testimony for those of you that haven't heard that. Now, this isn't working. There we go. All right, so my wife and I were in this car accident. We were in a head-on collision on our way down here to Florida about 21 years ago. And there should be one more picture there. There we go. She broke her neck, had to have it replaced with the cadaverous shin bone. She was driving. But by the grace of God, she's amazing, and she's doing perfectly fine. 95% of the people with her injuries are killed immediately, and the rest are usually paralyzed. I was sleeping. I wake up in the car to us spinning out of control in the rain into oncoming traffic. I braced my legs on the dashboard and literally snapped my pelvis in half, broke my sacrum in half, ripped the muscles off both my legs, lost a third of my intestines, and had a whole bunch of other injuries. Needless to say, it was a long recovery. I'm a chiropractor by trade, and so I obviously couldn't practice for quite a while. 7 back surgeries. They finally put a computer in my spine just so I wouldn't feel the pain anymore, and then let me just stay confined to a chair for the rest of my life. I had a very supportive family, and they kept saying, don't give up. You're going to get through this. You're going to find that breakthrough. You're going to find something. And that's what I would hold on to. And sure enough, I found a breakthrough. And then there was another one. Then it wasn't a matter of if I was going to get better. It's when's that next breakthrough coming? And so the neurostimulation unit they implanted into my spine right here, that was just so I wouldn't feel anything from here down. So I get neurostimulation. I have like the Lamborghini of all of them. But in order for me to finally get better and get out of my wheelchair after so many years of having to be taken care of, I had to go back to the basics. And what I mean by that is I had to go back to how are we built, what are we made up of, and how do we regenerate ourselves? And so if we're going to ever get better from any physical problem, especially, we have to let the next version of ourselves be a little bit better and cleaner than the last version. Okay? And that's how we're going to get through this. So I'm going to take you on a little journey of our bodies and how that looks. And this is going to help you understand more than ever what this technology is doing for people. And it's not about the symptoms. I know everybody's so concerned about the symptoms. Does this help MS? Does this help Parkinson's? Does this help headaches? Does this help shingles? That's all the questions we get is, does it help a condition? It's not about the condition, okay? It's about how you're experiencing life through your nervous system, okay? So let's go a little bit deeper on that. You guys ready to get your brain stimulated? Everybody? All right. All right, so we're going to get to the smallest beginning of where it all starts, and that's with atoms. We have over 100 trillion atoms that make up a molecule. We have between 5 million and 2 trillion molecules that make up a cell. Okay? So it all starts with the atoms into the molecules and creating a cell. We have over 100 trillion cells in our body. Okay? Think of it like you have 100 trillion children. We take better care of our children than we do ourselves. Okay? Your cells have to have that same attention. So, again, like Dr. Joe was saying, I could speak for 2 days just on this slide alone, talking about what the function in the life of a cell looks like. But let's just talk about a couple things. First of all these little hairs on the outside of that cell, these are like little antennas. Now, your nervous system is control of everything, and these little hairs are directly communicating to the DNA in the cell. So this little, I'm not sure if this is a laser. I don't think so. The little purple circle in there, that's your DNA. Your DNA has the actual code to what your perfect cell should look like. Unfortunately, it also has a bunch of toxins and things that you've been exposed to and junk that has carried us along, and it's making it into the next cell and into the next cell, and we don't really need that stuff. So your body's got this default mechanism to take that DNA and literally make 3 billion copies of it, filter through my 3 billion copies to find the cleanest one and say, this is the one that makes it into the new cell. We haven't seen one this clean in decades. How great is that? Okay? So the process of us repairing and replacing the cells happens very quickly. Now, those little hairs on the outside, they're antennas. And all they care about is, what's the environment outside my cell? Is it healthy and safe and happy? Do I look outside, it's beautiful weather? Or am I looking outside and it's storming and there's lightning about to hit the glass and I'm afraid for my life? Okay? Why do I say look outside? What happens outside the cell? We used to believe that in order to prevent the bad things from happening in that DNA, like genetic issues, like what causes one person to express the genes and the other person doesn't, we used to say it was lifestyle. I was raised believing it was lifestyle. You got to eat clean, avoid toxins, exercise, drink lots of water, do all these things to make my cells healthy so that I never give it a reason for the bad stuff to activate. Well, in this last decade, researchers have found out there's another factor at play here that holds more than 50% of the weight if you're ever going to express that gene or not. 50%. More than lifestyle, right? It's your emotions. Your emotions are more powerful than all your lifestyle choices. You can change that environment outside the cell in an instant and immediately turn it into a very negative environment where I have to activate all my warriors in the DNA to come fight this battle because it's not good outside. So you have to guard and protect your emotions at all costs. A thought is a thought, like Jay was saying, doesn't hold a lot of weight until you internalize it and it becomes an emotion. So my parents used to always tell me, don't let anybody get your goat. I didn't really know what that meant, but it was like, don't let them steal your joy. Don't let them take it. It's just not worth it. And so whenever I find myself getting upset about things, I'll say, you know what? I'll just agree that I don't have all the information in this situation, and so I'm not going to let myself come to any conclusions until I get more information. That helps a lot of us from doing that. Now, how does this all tie back into VOXX with this environment and my moods and my emotions? Well, when we're doing all this brain mapping, we're seeing amazing things happen from people's stress and anxiety and depression and ADD and all of these things that we're seeing express themselves in the brain, and we're seeing it just flip as soon as I put the tech on. We're seeing our nervous system reboot, come online, and immediately we have better control of our emotions. And so you don't have to wonder if this technology is going to help the person you're sharing it with. You know it is. Because we know, even with Dr. Thatcher, that's 99.999% change in every single case. To have more than a 95% change is unheard of. And we're right at 100%. So our cells then all get their calling to become a certain type of cell. It's just kind of a blank cell until it says, you're supposed to be a heart muscle. That cell will convert to a heart muscle just like that, never compete to try to be any other type of cell for the remainder of its lifespan. Okay? Now, why is that important? Because each cell has a turnover rate. This is a really profound thought that most people never even think about. We just think, oh, I eat and I go to the bathroom and I'm surviving, and I sleep and I wake up, and people have no appreciation for how amazing the human body is. Did you know that your eyeballs replace themselves every 2 days? Every cell in your eyeball has a new one. Every 2 days, fastest turning over organ. All right, your gums only take 2 weeks to replace themselves. So what you're doing today is going to impact the health of your gums in 2 weeks. How you're treating your body, how you're treating your nervous system, how well it's communicating. Your throat only takes 2 months. The lining inside your lungs that help absorb all the oxygen, 8 days you have a brand new lining. Wonderfully and fearfully made. Your heart takes 6 months. All your blood vessels take 6 months to reproduce. Your bones, they take the longest. They take 11 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. So every year there's a whole new you. They used to believe it was 7 years. Now we know it's only a year. And parts of your body replace themselves multiple times that year. So there's your hope. If I change the way I'm treating my body and I'm doing all the things to optimize my body now, my next version of those cells are going to be a little bit younger, cleaner, and healthier. Heck, I'm living proof. I'm never supposed to walk again. I've remodeled all the arthritis in my spine, the stenosis, the herniations, the scar tissue, everything has all been remodeled. But it took me years to kind of start focusing on that, and once I grabbed that concept, and then everything that I did related to make sure that my cells are going to be healthier than the last. And the breakthroughs started happening over and over and over again. So all your cells in your body, once they get their calling, become a certain tissue. The tissue then becomes an organ. Our organs then turn into systems. Out of all the systems that run the body, which one's the most important? Nervous system. Hands down. It guides, dictates, and directs the function of every one of your 100 trillion cells. Period. You experience life through your nervous system. Everything else happens after that. Okay? And so the nervous system then, we got a little video, becomes the body, the organism. Okay? That's the net result of all those cells organizing through all the information in the nervous system to optimize and become you. Okay? Now, after you comes the symptom, right? And all we care about is this little symptom, like a light. How come the light's on? Okay, the light's off. Oh, the light's on. Why? Okay? Focus on the healing of what's going on inside and do all the right things, and trust that that innate intelligence that's literally creating 65 quadrillion chemical reactions every second in the dark. That kind of makes it more impressive, right? When it's in the dark. I can't do a lot of things in the dark. That intelligence is way more intelligent than our conscious mind. Our conscious mind, the gray matter, it does about 2,000 pieces of data a second. Our white matter underneath that runs and dictates all of this, 400 million transactions a second. Okay, so it holds so much more weight. So it's not about the symptom, it's about optimization of our nervous system. Most people's nervous systems look like this picture on the left. It's just chaos. There's so much junk. okay? It's not very organized, it's just chaos. And we live our life in chaos, and we just say, you know what, I just go for the green one. I just go for the red one. It's all good. It doesn't matter. That doesn't bother me. It should bother you. Because when it's like this, you're organized. You're optimized. Our nervous system needs to be optimized, okay? When the nervous system's optimized, your little healer inside does all the work, okay? Your body always does the healing. We talk about being compliant with VOXX. VOXX doesn't heal you. VOXX doesn't heal your MS. VOXX doesn't heal your Parkinson's. VOXX is optimizing your nervous system, and your nervous system is making a better version of you, a healthier version of you, a more stable, more balanced version of you. It's all about that optimization. We communicate through our tech. The tech goes straight to the brainstem, opens the brainstem up, and beyond that, it's a little different for everybody. So I'm not sure if we can play this little video. I don't have a play button, I don't think. Well, I got that button. All right, at any rate, this just shows a visualization of the nerves starting at the feet, impulsing all the way to the brain, and then helping the body. Oh, I saw a mouse pop up there. There we go. And so as we stimulate that, those impulses are traveling through multiple different nerves, jumping that signal. Think of it like a harmony, like it's a chord. If an ant crawled across your foot, that nerve that the ant was on literally sends a signal, and it jumps to 7 different nerves before it hits your brainstem. I like to think of this tech like a chord where it just sings and it goes straight through the brainstem. Okay? Or a Control-Alt-Delete in your computer. Things get hung up, the brainstem's regulating and controlling all of that. It clears the brainstem and gives you superpowers. That's right. We see so many movies by Marvel and everything with all these people having some sort of accident or trauma or putting on some kind of outfit that gives them all these crazy abilities. That's what I feel like when I put them on people. I mean, it's like, you want to be a superhero? Let me show you how these socks work. And then they become so strong, and we got their attention. So we literally have the ability to impact each and every person and give them abilities that they didn't even know they had inside. We're not giving them anything from the outside. We're optimizing their inside so that they function better. All right, so let's go through a quick little analogy. You were rummaging around in your basement this last week, and all of a sudden you found a trap door that never was there before, that you never saw before. And you open up the trap door, and there's 2 big sacks of cash, right? It's home improvement time. We're like, yay, we can do a whole bunch of things. Now, if that scenario happened for everybody in your neighborhood, everybody would have some different uses for that. Some people might put in a new kitchen, okay? Some people might throw in a pool in their backyard with that money. Some people might put on a new deck. Everybody's got a different need in your own body. So I like to think about this. When we optimize our nervous system, we know empirically that we have about 34% more efficient neurology, okay? So you got 34% extra oomph to do whatever your body needs. And each and every one of you in this room has a different need, okay? So sometimes people put the socks on like, oh my gosh, my elbow pain just went away. That's amazing, all right? After the elbow is healed, because your body healed it, your body's gonna use that extra 30% to do the next job, and then the next job, okay? Think of, also you could use the analogy of, like in your computer, we have these things called ad blockers, right? And when the ad blocker's on, I'm not getting spammed with a bunch of information that I don't need, okay? That's nonsense information. When I turn ad blocker off, all the garbage starts coming in again and all the input that I don't want and unnecessary information. When I put my socks on, ad blocker in my brain just went on. It's optimized, it's efficient, it took all the static out. It's able to communicate to all the different regions and parts of our body like it's never had before. So people say, well, once I'm healed, am I healed? Is it permanent? I don't have to wear the socks anymore? It's like, no. It's like, if you turn the ad blocker off, everything comes back in, okay? And so when you're seeing how just keeping the contact on my body with this technology changes your brain, it took me 2 seconds once I brain mapped myself and did this to think, I'm never taking these socks off my feet. Or I'm always having this tech on my body. Are you kidding me? I worked so hard to try to optimize that. And it just did hours and hours of work in seconds. I mean, in seconds. We would have people come in and do neurofeedback and neuroplasticity training, and they would train for 10 hours over a couple months, and we'd see 10 to 25% change and be elated. Be so excited about, we got 10% more neurology going on now. This is awesome. We're getting better. Everybody's so excited about these results. We put the socks on and see a 48% change with no training? That's unheard of in this industry, and that's why it's getting so much attention by the healthcare practitioners, and we're bringing in such amazing health leaders that are so influential because they see what it's doing and they put two and two together. This is the greatest medical breakthrough in over a decade, or in over 100 years. You know, in our lifetime, this is one of the greatest things we've ever come across and ever seen. So everybody has a different need. Some people might need exercise. Some people might have a cold. Some people might need balance and stability, or pain or discomfort, or emotions in all shapes and ways, right? We use this technology for what we need, okay? Our body's no different. This technology helps our molecules organize and turn into better quality cells. The cells then turn into stronger, healthier, more viable tissue. The tissue creates the organs, and the organs run the systems in our body that create our organism. So this technology is making us better organisms. Okay? It's making us healthier from the inside out. Every day we wear it, we're having that day, our cells are replacing cleaner, better, healthier. Do I care about the symptoms? No, the symptom is just the light. That's at the very end. It's just the last expression of the nervous system is the symptom. It's always the last thing to come and the first thing to go. But once the symptom's gone, that doesn't mean you don't need to wear your tech. Okay? Some people just don't get the fact that this is helping our neurology heal, and we need that healing all the time, especially at night. We do so many brain maps for showing people what their day is like and what their night is like, and the majority of people are not wearing their socks at night because they just don't know. And when you see what it does to your brain at night, oh my goodness, you'll too want to do that. Here's your brain, and here's your brain on VOXX. All right, so here's what we've done. We have done actually close to 2,000 maps now, and it still blows my mind just as much as the very first map that I did. Okay? This is all objective findings, guys. This is not just, hey, this person says they felt better with the tech on. Okay? This is, no symptoms involved here. This is strictly just brain mapping. So our study, basically, we did 4 brain maps on each person that came into the study. And eyes open, eyes closed, and then we put the tech on them, waited 7 seconds, and then did eyes open, eyes closed again. Okay? And these are the maps that we sent to Dr. Thatcher, and he did his own editing of the raw data into his system, and that's what he just showed us the video and published. That was based on, he just took the first 60 patients. We've done over 300. Okay? All right, so we record 19 spots. Can you hit play on that big one there for me, please? Actually, no. There was actually, well, I'll just go ahead. We're short on time. Hit play on the bottom of this one. So we can see different regions of the brain. This particular software is looking at 6,500 voxels in the brain, which it can identify down to a 5 millimeter cube as a voxel. And so we can see neurology in different regions and organizations of the brain. This is the occipital lobe, which is visual assessment, what I'm seeing. It's also short-term memory. It's also dreaming, sleeping, and my working memory and all of that. And so once we put the tech on, you can go ahead and hit play again, please. All of that blue woke up. On other cases where they're all red, they calm down and turn green. So we're returning it back to homeostasis, and then we had a couple quick videos with the limbic system there too. But what I really want to show, let me get to this one. So this is looking at every single slice in the brain of like if you were slicing this way down, okay, an axial slice. And ideally, you just want it to be gray. The reds and the yellows are up to 5 deviations too high would be the red. And so the left is a chronic stress anxiety patient. They put the socks on, and you can see all of that red calm right down. Okay? The body did that, not the socks. The tech gave instructions to the body on how to optimize itself, and the body says, oh, thank you, there's the code. Let's calm it down. And the patient instantly feels that, in certain cases like this. And so here's the before after of just one of those images. All right, so now we have new technology. Now this is Dr. Thatcher's newer technology, which we can literally bring the brain to 12,500 voxels. So now I'm looking at all the surface area of every crevice and everything. We can go ahead and hit play on this one. And so we see 3 different planes of the video here. You see some of the white outlines here where the mouse is up top. That's a specific Brodmann area, a specific network in the brain that has very specific functions. But we're seeing here is the cortex on the outside. This is your conscious thoughts. This person had 2 brain traumas at 2 months apart from each other. And as soon as we put the tech on, all those hot spots just calmed right down. Okay? And the pain in this case went away. Then, can you hit pause here for a second on this video? So what we're seeing now as we peel the cortex away, actually, can you pause it, please? The purple dots all along there in the white matter make up the pain network in this case. Now we have dozens of networks that we can show, and then we add what's called connectivity. And that means how well does each of those purple nodes communicate to the other one, and to the other one. And it has to communicate to each of those, and they all work and talk together, and that forms the network of how we manage our pain. Those lines are supposed to be green. When they're red or yellow, it means that there's too much information being bombarded from this node to that node. And it's like trying to listen to somebody in a crowded room and everybody's talking around you. And it's like I'm getting some of it, but I'm missing some words, and it's very frustrating. To try to live like that all the time is very hard. Okay? And so as soon as we put the tech on that person, we see all the network kind of reboot itself and turn green. Now we get an anxiety network, we have an autism network, we have a addiction and reward network, we have attention networks, we have a pain network. We have dozens of these networks that dictate and control how well our neurology stays balanced and how well we can control the way we feel and our emotions and all of that. And when we have any type of trauma, whether it's chemical or emotional, some of these networks get knocked offline. Okay, we've never been able to really identify this before having this technology. And so Dr. Thatcher's taken this technology and he's done over 3,000 people with the Brain Health Index and published studies on this where they use this now for military and for different sports to be able to assess the concussion and return to play and all of that stuff. And so the technology is so amazing now that we can see, we were just looking at surface stuff before, and it was like, wow, the surface is changing. Now we're like, goodness gracious, the networks are changing. This is so much more profound. This is why I don't sleep at night, because I'm thinking about all the people and the patients that have come to me, like Jay was saying. They come to us at the end of the line. They've tried everybody else. They ran out of money. They have no more time. They're running out of time. Their condition is progressing so fast, and they're desperate. And all of a sudden they find somebody that looks at the whole them and that has answers. And that we can do things as simple as a pair of socks on their feet day one, and they already have hope immediately because the stress and all of that changes. So, their mind's coming back online. The systems that run their anxiety or their depression or their sleep cycles and all of this, they're getting rebooted and coming back online. They have hope. Now all the therapy that we do and all the things that we do to help our patients are being more well received. And the patients can retain the information that we're instructions and stuff that we're giving them. We just assume because I say the words to my patient that they go home and they do what I said, but a lot of times they're so overwhelmed by their condition that they're not able to hear 30% of what I say, and they're just sitting there nodding and smiling. And I've heard this from several doctors that have been using this tech in their practice over this year, is like, it's like my patients can pay attention to me better on day one. And they get more excited about our care, they're getting better faster, more effectively, and it's all thanks to the VOXX. So let me see what else we have. So VOXX literally gives us the ability to pull out the Olympian in all of us, okay? I always strive to find that Olympian in each and every one of you, or each and every one of our patients, Because like Jay was saying, we have to be on the same page if you really want to get better. Some people say they want to get better, but they're not willing to do any of the things that are necessary to get better. Like, I got to change my diet? Really? I could never do that. And it's like, you could do anything, especially for a short period of time. Anybody can do anything to get better. You just have to have hope. For one, you have to believe that you're going to get better. And you got to stop listening to the false facts, like Jay was saying, okay? I'll never get better. Everybody in a wheelchair like me stays in a wheelchair. My doctors, I had the best doctors. I've been everywhere in the world and spent over $1 million on medical care, and I'm still in this wheelchair, so guess what? I'm supposed to be in this wheelchair. No. If that was my attitude, if I didn't have a certified optimism attitude and I wasn't, mentally positive, the attitude is what's going to detect everything else that you have going. And if you don't have a good attitude, don't expect to get better. Okay? You can't sit around and complain and get better, okay? You got to start changing the one thing you do have control over, and that's what you're choosing to think and what you're choosing to put in your mouth. There's nobody else in your world that cares about either of those two things. So we better care about that for ourselves, right? And be a better steward to our body. And when you find something as powerful as this technology, it begins here. Like all the doctors are saying, this is the new standard of care. Why on earth wouldn't I start with this if it's going to make everything else we do better? And for those practitioners out there that have this mindset, well, I wouldn't want to give that to my patient because then they would get better too quickly and I wouldn't make as much money off them. Shame on you, okay? You shouldn't be practicing. That's not how the laws of attraction work, period. They fail to see the forest through the trees. Do you realize if you got somebody better and 25% of the time that everybody else gets them better, do you not think that person's going to send you 100 people? And do you not think the people that are coming in, they're coming to you because they want to get better fast, and you have the ability to add things to their program and look at the whole them and make them happy, healthy, and referring other people, okay? It's a give and take thing. We can't expect for them to give their best to us if I'm not giving them my best. And once we see stuff like this and we know what's possible, why on earth wouldn't we do that? And that's why the doctors have such a unique position and the healthcare practitioners, with a piece of product like this, because it's so profound that for the first time ever in my entire career, the MDs, the DOs, the dentists, the surgeons are all locking arms with us and saying, let's do this, man. This is awesome. And that has never happened. There's always been this chiropractor and MD and this huge chiasm between us where we don't refer, we don't help each other. Or at least that's how the persona has been for so many decades. And now, with unbelievable amounts of EMF stuff we're being exposed to, all the pollution in our food, the soil's all damaged. I mean, there's so many things going wrong that are affecting our cellular health. So we have to focus more than ever on how we can keep ourselves healthy. And when we know beyond any shadow of a doubt that if I have this technology on me, my body's got a much better chance at making a healthier cell than without it. This is the standard of care. We start with this, so every nutrient we take, all the water that we drink, all the foods that we intake are all absorbed and utilized better, okay? You're not what you eat, you're what you assimilate and absorb, okay? And so when your nervous system is offline, and not just my peripheral nervous system in my body, but we just saw all these networks in the brain. You don't even realize your networks are offline. You're just going through life because I can see and I can talk. But you're not thriving when your networks aren't online. Okay? You're not thriving when you don't have that ad blocker protecting your brain and protecting your nervous system from unnecessary noise that just shouldn't even be there. And you're certainly not thriving when you have a stinking attitude. Okay? Attitude determines human performance. Check your attitude. It's free. Positive thoughts are free. They don't cost anything. But they're like magnetic, positive or negative. There's really no gray matter in between when you come to your emotions and your thinking. It's either 100% positive or it's just flat out negative. And if you're thinking the negative thoughts, you got to be very careful because they're going to attract another negative thought and then another one, then another one, and then you're snowballing down a hill so fast that you can't get away from it. And then you've produced all these stressful hormones that now you have to metabolize for the rest of the day. What's wrong? Nothing. Like really nothing's wrong. I was just upset this morning and now I'm having to deal with the consequences of that for the rest of the day. Okay? Protect your mind. Stay positive. You attract the positive people. And you don't have to kick the negative people out of your life. They'll be repelled from you. Okay? They will run. Because they don't like all this warm and fuzzy feelings. They love their negativity and complaining about the news and all the things that are wrong. That's their stand in life, and that's their angle, all right? But we don't have to expose ourselves to that. Attract yourself with like-minded people that think the way you think, that are on track to change the world and be part of something greater and bigger than all of us. And you're going to find this overwhelming bouts of joy that just fall over you all day long. My wife's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I just felt another one of these waves of joy come over me." She's like, "Can I stand behind you?" And I'm like, "Sure." So, Vox Life is truly giving us the ability to thrive again. We are the light for a healthier future. Thanks. Right on time, 12 o'clock, ready for lunch.